So have you ever watched an anime for 1 to 3 episodes and it explains the whole plot, like who are these characters, where does this show take place, when does this show take place, and why should I be watching this? Well, the show manages at least to answer the last question for us, and it's to watch this poor guy die in horrible ways, so that he himself can find the answers to the first few questions himself. Now I watched the first 5 episodes so far, which I like, but as I've already suggested, this is way over the limit of 1 to 3. Usually, that is the case for most animes, but this show just isn't like that. So now, since I watched 5 episodes of this show so far, basically I want to talk about my personal opinion on the show and what I feel like is, what is wrong with it, what are my first impressions of it. And it's going to give you this quick rundown of what I feel about it. So you start off with, this boy, main character Subaru. I forgot his full name, doesn't really matter. All you're going to be really hearing is people calling him Subaru. But, he, dies, then respawns. He ends up having to retrace the steps he took before his death, and then trying to understand why he even died in the first place, all while trying to keep some type of relationship with this girl that he has a crush on in this weird fantasy universe. And it's kind of, all this stuff just isn't something that normally happens to anyone, but this unlucky guy gets stuck with that, opportunity, and we still don't understand why any of this is really happening. All that we know is that, well, someone brought him to this world for some reason, and that's about it. We don't know what reason he has to be there, maybe to save the kingdom? Who knows? But, as I've already said, I'm basically going to give since I said a little bit of the plot, I'm going to give like a quick rundown of the entire show from, episode 1 to episode 5. So, let's begin. So our main character is thrown into a fantasy universe and wanders around a bit. He gets in trouble with some thugs and is saved by a strange silver-haired girl, which is Amelia, which is the main girl of the series, and also the next heir to the throne for their kingdom. But the silver-haired girl is looking for something, and main character volunteers to help. He follows her around a bit. Once they arrive at a certain location to figure out if they know where the amulet she's looking for is at, they both die. He wakes back up. He is now back at a certain point in time, confused and wondering what the fuck is going on. So he decides to continue to search himself. He then meets the thief and almost successfully retrieves the item, but is killed by an assassin. Eventually receives the item for silver-haired girl and she takes him in her care. Main character wakes up in the mansion that she owns, and is ran by a weird clown-looking guy, but he doesn't really like being called a clown-looking guy. So he then becomes the butler for the house, and he basically just wants to live there and have fun. As long as he's near Amelia, that's all he wants. Main character, after his long day of being a butler for the house for the first time and working there a full day, he eventually wakes up and he realizes that he died. But then, he tries to repeat the same timeline after he woke up, and try to repeat the same day that he already had been through after he had made a promise to, main girl. Wakes up again, and he's dead again. Now, the show kinda just goes on like this, where, unsurprisingly enough, he gets wrecked in this weird world that he has no control over at all, and you can already tell this is what's going to be happening. You already know this is going to be the main plot. It's like the main essence of the plot, where he dies, he wakes up, he says, what the hell is going on here? And then he searches around to figure out if, what he did, what could he have done to cause this, chain of events of him dying and waking up. Then he dies again, he gets back up again, finds a little bit more after that death, and then he goes through the same events, and then eventually he gets to a point where he's, in trouble, and then he eventually gets saved by someone in that world. That's at least the first event in the first few episodes of the show. That's how it went. I don't like that. If that is going to be the main point of the show, it will get a little bit repetitive. But so far, I do find the show very interesting. I do find that the show is a mystery, and a mystery that still is a mystery because you don't know why he's here. Like that's a question that, you know, there's been no hint to. Like you get like a little bit more exposition, a little bit, you know, details of where he's at, what's going on in this world, and who are at least the people around him. But you don't really know why he's even being put into the situation. My guess is that he is, you know, brought there by some type of wizard that wants to, you know, put their political point forward when it comes to Amelia being the next heir of this kingdom, and maybe, you know, dethroning her, or it was maybe one of Amelia's, I don't know, you know, one of her followers, one of the people that are behind her in terms of her political, for political gain. Like I was saying, they probably summoned him there to help her. Either way, we don't know why things are going on, and that's basically the show so far. But other than that, in terms of the story so far, I do believe that the show is on the right track, and it will, you know, explain what the hell is going on. And I do believe the show is probably going to be my favorite anime of this season because it just gets better each episode. Like it's just like what the fuck, man. Like it's things that are both fucked up and it's things that's both amazing. And I mean to be honest, there's a lot of shows this season that are really slow, and this one is relatively slow but keeping at a greater pace each episode. Like it ramps up every episode because you kind of understand where things are going to be going. So yeah, that's my impressions of the series, and thank you for watching this video. You can, you know, do what you do when you see a channel that you might like, and yeah,